Oh yes, and we've got Pt. Ogunsanwo, our data and information analyst, here with us. And then we're continuing focusing on public sector financing. Thank you for coming on again today, Pt.
Good morning.
So let's pick up from where we left off, possibly. You're digging into how public financing goes through the public sector. What is it that you find? Because I see you're asking if corruption does stop
economic growth.
Economic growth. But people will tell you the answer is yes. Is that what you found?
Yeah, but really, the evidence doesn't seem to suggest that corruption does stop economic growth. Oh yes, it doesn't. Because again, let's look at three key indicators that will surprise you, Chamberlain. And the first is, let's look at what happened when we had our worst corruption score in this Fourth Republic, 2001, Nyota. Transparency International then rated our corruption score in 2001 as we scoring just 1/10. Wow. But what you find surprising is even though our corruption score was 1/10 in 2001, the economy grew by 6.7%. And so, Gimba, the question we should ask is, does corruption spur economic growth? Now, let's look at what then again happened in 2004, Chamberlain. And 2004 was that year that we had our fastest economic growth. Over 10% in 2004. The economy was on steroids. But again, Corruption International, Transparency International, said that even though we were growing at over 10%, corruption was still an F9, 1.6/10. So we've seen two cases. One of our worst corruption score in 2001, and the economy was still growing, and our fastest economic growth in 2004, and there was still massive corruption. But then again, let's look at what happened in 2016. Transparency International says, even though our corruption is still rated as F9, compared to previous governments, corruption was scored at 2.8/10. And then what then happened? The economy shrunk. So it does really make us think that perhaps what has been growing in the Nigerian economy has been corruption.
That's going to be a tough one to take. So when we seem to ramp up or improve on our performance in terms of fights against corruption, the economy
shrinks. Yeah, that's what it seems to happen. So I think what does really happen is when there's a fight against corruption, the bad boys really hold on to their money.
Is this linked to weak institutions? Because I cannot understand when we're fighting corruption and the economy is performing badly.
So really what seems to be happening is when we're fighting corruption, people get scared. Everybody gets scared. The good guys and the bad guys. And people then go into that debate, which we still have today. The question, three questions Nigerians are asking. Which government is more corrupt, the APC or the PDP government? Nigerians are saying, which government is performing better, the APC or the PDP government? Indeed, Chamberlain, Nigerians are really asking, is there a difference between the APC and the PDP? Now, the challenge is, if we attempt to answer any of these three questions, we will not live here today. It's like a beer parlor argument. And that's because we are trying to provide the right answer to the wrong question. And there's nothing we can do if we keep trying to provide the right answer to the wrong question. We will keep arguing.
So what should the right question be?
Now, the right question should be is, what is the way to fight and to answer this? It shouldn't be about what the APC did right or what the PDP did wrong. It should be, what is the right thing to do? And the right thing to do is to improve the lives of people. And that is the fact. The NBS, the Bureau of Statistics, recently did a survey and asked people, is corruption the first thing that bothers them? They said no. Is corruption the second thing that bothers them? They said no. The first two things bothering Nigerians, high cost of living and unemployment. Now that leads to people's nightmare.
So that's the economy.
Yeah, that is the economy. Corruption was the third thing. And let's try and look at how sensitive this is. Not too long ago, the Tehran in Iran, they were close to war because of three things: corruption, high unemployment, and high inflation. But here's the challenge, Chamberlain. unemployment in Iran is better than unemployment in Nigeria. And so the official unemployment rate today is 18%. In Iran, they were close to war because unemployment was 12%. In Iran, they were close to war because inflation was 10%. Inflation in Nigeria is 15%. In Iran, they were close to war because of corruption. Corruption in Nigeria is worse than corruption in Iran. And by no means am I suggesting that people should get onto the streets and say because Iran was close to war, we also want to get to war. No, we need to lose more than ever before. Look at how much corruption affects our way of life. Indeed, after the Jonathan's government left, a research conducted by our own Bureau of Statistics says corruption cost us 402 billion naira Gimba. Now, what is 402 billion naira? Based on the evidence from the Minister of Finance today, she says, or she allows us to understand that 402 billion naira, Nyota, will feed 15 million children. In simple terms, corruption will feed all the children living in Lagos and Kano State for 1 year. And so in real terms, what does corruption mean? Corruption means adults are stealing from children. That is the Nigerian corruption. That is the challenge we have today. Again, people are still itching to say the PDP stole, the APC stole more. Recently, the Vice President says that there's been an 100 billion naira fund that was released just close to the election, plus over $200 million.
Let's take it from there. We'll come back in a moment. Don't go away.